stream. Oh, huge right. TJ Benson. And credit the power.
What's up, folks? You're just coming in after that sweet highlight video. I've got Josh Krejci here, and he's going to be fighting this weekend, this Friday, for BKFC's Fight Night in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, Josh has fought for BKFC a handful of times now. He's fought in MMA as well as professional. The guy is very experienced in his career so far, and he's going to be fighting this upcoming Friday, so make sure you tune into that. Josh, how are you doing today, man?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great, doing great. Just getting the last of this weight off.
Getting the last of the weight off. Got much more to go?
So I got it mapped out to where I got 6 to 7 pounds, and I'm in such a good spot that I just ate a pretty banger recovery meal for sleep tonight, so I'll be ready to go in the morning.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. So this fight coming up this Friday, right? This is your third fight for BKFC?
Yes.
Yeah, third? Okay, cool. So going into this one, obviously you fought 2 times before when they were here in Omaha. So every time's been here in Omaha so far. Is BKFC kind of where you want to be now? Are you looking to get back into MMA at any point, or is it strictly bare knuckle from here on out?
The only way that I would jump back at MMA is if a bare knuckle MMA promotion reached out and said, "Hey, we want you to come fight for us." But in terms of BKFC, man, like I'm at the point of my career where it's just kind of like, hey, I'm not contracted by them, but let's ride this train as long as possible.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And you've had pretty good fights so far. We're gonna put up a highlight of one of those. So I'm excited about that. That'll be at the beginning. So when you go to watch this interview, you're gonna see it. But yeah, man. So what was it that got you into fighting in general? What got you into MMA originally? What got you into just training martial arts? Where did that begin?
So in the Marine Corps, when I was in there from 2006 to 2010, we just, you get a bunch of men together that you just scrap like all the time. You roll it, like you train, you're always training for combat because I was in the infantry. But I just took a really, really liking to the combatives program in the Marines and how almost every situation that you and your buddies beef about can be solved in the grappling pit.
That's the truth.
It's just one of those things where, we'd be out in the field, and what a bunch of bored Marines do is they call up people from their platoons, and you guys are grappling each other from each platoon. But if it's like a really big field event, then like the infantry guys would be grappling the artillery guys, and like we made even when we were in Iraq, we made it to where we had a little event with we were working hand in hand with the Iraqi police, and we actually got to do the same thing, and that was legit. Like it was just fun to roll around with another style of military combatants and really see like what they were training was compared to ours.
That's awesome. So like your first kind of dabbling into like actual martial arts and like a competitive sphere was in the military. That's wild. That's crazy. Yeah, that's so cool though, because like a lot of people that's a unique start to where you are now, to like an MMA career into a bare knuckle boxing career. That's a unique start. I like that. That's a good story for that. When you were doing that, I imagine you guys weren't like divvying up by weight classes, so you probably got to go with everybody, yeah?
Oh yeah, and then there was this one part in 2009. We were on the USS Boxer when all the Captain Phillips stuff went down. Okay. And so on the ship, they called the living area the berthing area, and I got attached to this part called combat cargo, and it's just a bunch of different, like, you're in there with people from all MOSs, and obviously you're going to butt heads. So even there, we started a little underground fight club in there called Birthing Beatdown. And it was anyone. You could call out anyone. You just had to take your blouse off, so there was no rank. And then we went to Thailand, and we really made things interesting because I got this little taser, and we turned it into like Birthing Beatdown, but the crazy edition. So we put the taser in the middle of the floor, and two guys who agreed to go after it just would go, and it would be a fight with a taser. So your tap out would have to be the voltage, like, but if you could withstand the volts and get it and like taser, like, we had just a lot of fun doing a lot of violent, stupid things.
So is it a pretty good relief knowing your opponents now don't have a taser?
No, I think it'd be more about what's that Rampage? What's Rampage doing, that circus fighting over in Thailand somewhere where they got like,
I don't know.
Oh, it's just crazy matchups, like Siamese boxing. Bob Sapp was part of one of those too. Look that up sometime.
Of course he was. That's wild. What a thing, huh? So I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
I got out in 2010, and I was like, man, I'm bored. I was working in the restaurant industry back home, and there was this event in 2012 that I first found out about that they don't do anymore, called the Bartenders Brawl. Okay. And what that was is, first and foremost, it was an industry party night, but it was cool because what made it unique event was I would fight someone from a different restaurant within the St. Louis area. And within that, by volunteering to fight in this event, being obviously all industry workers, they hooked you up with a gym that was close to you, and you got to train there for 3 months. So I was lucky enough to get hooked up with Mike Rogers and Patrick Christie and Quentin O'Brien out at St. Charles MMA. And then Patrick's the head of Art of 8 Muay Thai. And then Quentin at the time was under Patrick as well. Now he's off doing his own thing. But I linked up with them. We fought the event, and that was even though it was like an industry night, it was a legit, like, we got our we're WKA, like, little kickboxing cards. So they really like sanctioned it. And then 6 months later, I hit up Mike, and I was like, yo, can I come train full time? And he was like, why do you want to do it? And I was like, honestly, those 3 months after I got out of the Marines, that was the best I ever felt. And, I just kind of want to keep going and see where it goes. And he was like, yeah, come in.
What a great, so your first sanctioned fight was like in a restaurant worker versus restaurant worker fight. That's absurd.
It was at the Ameristar Casino in St. Charles, which I would eventually go on and fight at under another couple shows there. So it was really dope.
That's awesome. And so those were under like kickboxing rules, right?
Yep.
So from there, did you stick with kickboxing for a while, or did you go into MMA right away, or what'd you do there?
So I started, so that was my first one. And then when I came back, I did kickboxing for probably about 5 total fights. And then Patrick Christie came up to me one day after my second fight, and he was like, you ready to do real kickboxing? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I can get you on a Shamrock FC card, but Shamrock, as amateurs, have 90-second rounds, cuffs and gloves. 90-second rounds, because cuffs and gloves, no headgear. And it was really awesome experience. And then the MMA was a slow transition into there. I wasn't even going to do jiu-jitsu. I showed up early for like an open bat because I knew the gym was open, and I went to hit the bag. And Mike Rogers peeked his head in there, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, just hitting the bag. And he's like, striking's not till 6. And he's like, come with me. He's like, you ever done jiu-jitsu? And I was like, no, what is that? And he looked at me, and he's like, you look like you're probably about an A2, referencing a gi size. And so I slapped it on at that moment, and the rest was history.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, because you're a pretty slick grappler. I mean, obviously you don't need that for BKFC, but I mean, you're a pretty slick grappler, man. So I mean, obviously something clicked there. You must prefer to strike. Is that correct?
What was that?
Do you prefer to strike as opposed to grapple, as far as just like what you find the most enjoyable? Is that why you've kind of gone the bare knuckle route?
So I kind of like my MMA career. I did more jiu-jitsu because let's be real. Who wants to go pay $60 for a tournament, be there all day? And then for me, getting in the cage was more like, all right, let's execute this under a more realistic situation and just really, but I could strike, but I always just kind of had the mentality of, oh, let's just go to the ground and see what happens. But now like BKFC actually finding the striking rhythm, that's definitely a solid approach. I've been working almost exclusively with Cody Land, getting ready for this. And, with his knowledge of his BKFC fights and, the gym that we were at, we were able to get a lot of knowledge and, just keep on going and just keep adding on to tools in the toolbox and just keep building.
That's awesome, man. So going into this fight now, this upcoming matchup. So where do you want to go from here? I mean, obviously you want to get the win. You're going to get the win. That's a foregone conclusion. You're a bit of an underdog, so other people don't see it, but they're going to know after this week. What do you want to do? Like, obviously, like you said, at this point in your career, it would take, whatever. It would take bare knuckle MMA to get you back in MMA. You're not a spring chicken anymore, but you still got fight in you. Oh, yeah. Are you looking to climb the ranks? What are you looking to do here? Is it for fun at this point? What is it for you?
It's kind of more just let's see what happens.
Okay.
Because they know as soon as my name's on any card, they know that I'm just going to bite down on my mouthpiece and go forward. That's been your strategy every fight so far, so that's worked out pretty well. I mean, you've never been in a boring fight. I can definitely attest to that. As far as especially your BKFC. I mean, it's hard to have a boring BKFC fight, but you sure don't. You're going to come forward. You're going to give everything you got. In this particular matchup, do you do a lot of tape study leading into them, and have you done that for this fight? Not a whole lot, just because his forte in MMA is really depending on the legs, and obviously without the legs, then they're obviously working more boxing and stuff, but I also foresee that them working a lot on the clinch and what's going to happen when I do come forward and just clinch up.
Yeah, that's the thing about BKFC that's so much different than like regular boxing is the clinch is used so much differently, and you can use it more as a weapon as opposed to just like a stall tactic. You used to train at a Muay Thai gym, and I assume that's something that's really going to help you out in the clinch situations for BKFC. Do you think that makes sense? Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah.
So using, like, obviously, you got to change it a little bit because you can't, like, throw, like, Muay Thai knees and stuff. But, like, using that kind of Thai-style clinch in that BKFC kind of, dirty boxing kind of realm, is that something that you look to actively pursue, or do you just kind of take it if the opponent just closes that distance for you?
Oh, I love the clinch. Like my last fight, Tommy Stridham also fighting on the same night. Yep. Dude's had 100 pro Muay Thai fights. Was going to fight for international championship belt somewhere in South Africa. Cody even told me, because Cody and him fought before, he said, don't clinch with this guy. And I just I was just like, let's see how bad this really is.
Yeah, that might not have been the best game plan, but you know what? You live and learn, right?
But that's just me. Like, let's take the fight to where it's going to be the most entertaining.
Yeah, that's what matters. That's why people like watching you fight. I mean, if you're going out there and you're putting on a show, that's what BKFC wants to see. Obviously, they want to see you win, but they want to see exciting fights. That's what the fans like. That's what the fans remember. So with that said, is there anything that, we'll kind of wrap up a little bit here. Is there anything you want to hype up, anything you want to promote going into this fight or anything like that? What do you want people to check out prior to your fight or even after your fight going from this interview here?
Definitely check out my sponsors. Arcadia Construction right here. Oh, wrong way.
There you go.
Obviously, Cody Lamb Fitness as well. he does way more than just work with fighters. He really got a good sense of fitness and working with a bunch of different skill levels. And who was my nephew? He's got a book company, Moonlight Novels. So if anyone's into like medieval, he's got a bunch of different styles out now. He's got one medieval and then 3 Greek mythology books that are story based that he's done. October Native Solutions, helping veterans find out benefits that they don't necessarily know that they have. And then my homie Michael Casado at Northwestern Mutual.
There you go. Giving all the shout outs. I love it. Hopefully everybody's able to check that stuff out. Hopefully they can buy some of your cousin's books. That'd be sweet. With that, we're going to wrap up here. Everybody, make sure you like this video. If you haven't done it already, that would be very helpful for the channel. Make sure you tune into Josh's fight. I'm sure he has a link that you can purchase the bare knuckle event through. Do you have a link that they can purchase for to like give you credit?
Yeah, they sent us one. I'll throw it up on Facebook and Instagram probably tomorrow.
Sweet. I'll link both your Instagram as well as that link in the description of this video. Once that gets put up there, I'll put that up. This video will probably go up tomorrow anyway, so it works out great. But guys, make sure you check those out. If you want to support Josh, click on his link to get the BKFC event and follow him on Instagram. I mean, the guy's a cool guy. He's a funny guy, as you heard from the stories. Those Roach stories were pretty good. So thanks, guys. Like I said, like the video, and we'll catch y'all down the road.